Avengers, assemble. Welcome back. And today we're going to be diving into Datamined information pertaining to a potential boss. Now, right off the bat, anything that's found in data mining is subject to change or subject to never see the light of day. I do believe that as long as the game, survives and that it continues to thrive, that it is all material that we could get to from the 22 heroes that were originally data mined to, again, just like when I data mined information on Wakanda back in August. This is very much so that's coming to fruition. So these are stepping blocks that they're building, that they're putting in place, but it could be a while before we see them. And again, there is potential that we could never see it. Now, this particular villain goes all the way back to my August data mine. I first found references to Ultron then. There are further references to Ultron now, though. The information has all been collected, and right here it is references to objective, object, Ultron conscience. And then there's another tab for Ultron Conscience, a robot Ultron duplicate, a melee unarmed Ultron, an Ultron finger rays, which I guess means that he'll shoot rays out of his hands, Ultron Prime finger rays, a thrown Ultron beacon, a beam Ultron ray, an Ultron bubble shield, Ultron physical ground impacts, Ultron attack reactive, and deployable Ultron beacon. This is similar to the kind of information that was found for Claw back in August again, when we found first notes of Wakanda and Claw. He had references to various attacks and various materials, and a couple of references to raid as well. Again, we don't know what that means inherently quite yet, or in what form they use that term, when these things are found, because all of this is subject to change. But it lays the groundwork, it lays the foundation. It's something to get excited about too, because it's us making our own roadmaps, so to speak. It's us looking and looking at the potential for what could be coming down the pipeline and getting our hopes up, getting excited. These are major villains. Ultron is one of my top three favorite Marvel villains and favorite Avenger villains. I love this character. I do think it's pretty reasonable to assume that between what Henry Pym, is doing in the Anthill with Roy and with the other robots that are and androids, synthezoids, however you want to phrase it, are walking around. I mean, we have a foundation for the creation of Ultron. We have a blueprint there. Ultron seems perfectly fitting for this game. All the way back to the first reference when we discovered him, I was really excited. It was just a one-off reference, though. Now has been more added. This is a good sign, at least for me. I get excited, but again, I'm going to get excited. It's Ultron. He is one of my favorites. I'm interested to see how the game will interpret him. How he'll be reimagined and how he could play. Thinking of potential strategies, of gameplay mechanics, and again, references to Ultron Prime and to a General Ultron. We can assume that he's going to have minions, but there's also the potential that he's going to evolve throughout the course of a potential Ultron-focused expansion. And again, if you'll allow me, wherever there is an Ultron expansion, Henry Pym is going to be closely tied, which is what gets me really excited. He is the creator of Ultron, and the game has clearly set all of that up. That breadcrumb trail is absolutely there, and so 100% I do believe that we could see all of this bear fruit. We absolutely could see all of this bear fruit. I do not believe Ultron is a villain that would just be dropped randomly. I think he's going to have significant lore behind him. And when we talk about Ultron, I mean, if we go back to those 22, unlockable heroes, and we start speculating on, okay, we have these heroes, who could launch with Ultron? When we saw Claw and we saw Wakanda and we saw Black Panther, it was easy to put that together. Like, oh, that's it. That's an operation, or what they're calling an expansion now. That goes together. That makes the most sense. Looking at Ultron, that's something very exciting. Off the bat, key locations, it's hard for me to say. I do wonder if they would do Sokovia. Sokovia did not exist in the comics. It was not a comic book location that was created just for the MCU films. I wonder if they would do that, if they would go for that kind of synergy and tie Ultron's story into that, if they would use different locations from the comics. If they, focus on New York a lot, if he would take over the Anthill, things like that. But then in terms of heroes, again, there are three that make a significant amount of sense here for playable heroes, and that is Ant-Man, the Wasp, and Vision, all of which I datamined. I found them. There were references to all three of them, and they really do, in my opinion, make the most sense for who comes, or for any one hero that comes with Ultron. Frankly, all three of them fit very well, and I think it would. I think it'd be really awesome if, depending on how they play this and how they approach future content, and I hope they mix it up and continue to surprise us. But we could see a scenario, or at least I can, pontificate a scenario where, and wouldn't it be awesome, expansion launches and it's a rollout, sort of like how World of Warcraft does raids. There's a raid wing that opens and it slowly expands. Well, wouldn't it be exciting if when Ultron launched, you got a first playable hero, and then over the course of the next 8 weeks, 12 weeks, another hero came, and then all this culminated in an Ultron raid. Ultron creates Vision. There's a Vision boss fight. So that's just my imagination in my mind wondering. So I have to ask, any potential for Ultron, what do you see from this? What would you like to see from Ultron? What are key locations? Let's do that as well. What are key locations for you that you think that Ultron could be tied into? That when Ultron is introduced, what is a biome? What is a new map, a patrol zone, however you see fit to describe it? What is it for Ultron that ties him to a location, and what would that be for you? What do you think? How do you think Ultron's role will be on the story? Do you think he'll come from Roy? And whether it's one hero, multiples, however how do you envision this? What for you is the best hero choice to come with Ultron? So I look forward to hearing all of your thoughts on that. I think I'm really, really excited by this. I'm really excited by this. And do you agree that and I know this might be touchy because we have so many aimbots, but Ultron's minions, I mean, it makes sense if they're either versions of Roy, so to speak, or if they're, different, unique looking or modeled Ultrons. How do you feel about that, of course? But what would you like to see them do differently with an army of Ultrons, so to speak, I guess you could say. So I want to thank you all so much for watching. To my YouTube members, thank you so much for your support. It makes this content possible. To everyone else, thank you for clicking on the video and checking it out. Please do consider liking, subscribing, and sharing this content. It does help with the algorithm and with YouTube analytics. I hope you have a wonderful day, and we will see you again very soon.